Think it's live. Hey there. So, denial and the narcissist, right? The lack of accountability that I'm always saying is always there, that other people are always saying that we know exists. The lack of accountability that they do not show accountability or take accountability for any of the actions and manipulations and things they do to hurt you. So, denial. Let's talk a little bit about denial and the narcissist. Basically, it's a lack of accountability. Like I just said, it is a distorted mindset that they can put themselves into through denial. They can pretty much convince themselves, or maybe not convince, but show the world that they're not responsible, so then they don't have to take responsibility through that denial. It's a very childish act of, did you take the cookie? No, I didn't take the cookie, with crumbs all over the face. Did you take the cookie? No, I didn't take the cookie. Well, if you take the cookie, next time you tell me, it's that they get away with it. They get away with it through the denial, sort of. They don't really get away with it because we know exactly what's happening, but there's nothing we can do. It basically puts a wall up when they're in denial so that you do not have a chance at a real conversation. Hello, Leonard Oaks. Hello. Okay. Yes, we know. All right. So, is a refusal to denial is a refusal to acknowledge or um, an inconvenient or uncomfortable or un just a truth that maybe is unforgivable in oneself, or a truth that is um it's uncomfortable for them. It's something that puts them up against having to examine the delusion of mask that they wear, right? They don't want to do that. They want everyone to believe the mask. They need to believe the mask. That's what they're protecting at all costs until the mask slips and then they put it back on and say, see, right? Okay. So it's a defense mechanism that locks them in a delusional mindset. All right. And basically, it's all there to protect their ego. They don't have empathy. Remember, a narcissistic person with NPD does not have empathy. People with um, they're so convincing. They are so convincing, and we'll talk a little bit about why it's so convincing in a little bit. It's there in their world to protect the ego, to protect the sense of them believing they are something that they are presenting to the world. Remember, they'll do anything. It's life or death to them to defend the delusional masks that they wear, that they present to the world, and they want the world to believe that they are. And especially when you're talking about more communal narcissists, covert narcissists, those that nobody would suspect, that type. Yeah, the denial's big. Hey, you guys. Okay. It is a convenient way to deflect and pass the blame onto the other person, basically gaslight, project, and all of that stuff onto you, right? So the denial is effective. It's effective. It's a form of gaslighting. It is gaslighting. Yeah. Hey, Jess. Let's see. What happens when you've had enough denial? And we'll talk about the ways in which denial can present it, the ways in which they present it. Now the dogs are going to bark because someone is standing right at my window to do painting. Let's see if he goes away. Okay. They didn't see. Hey, Ruby, you're all good. Shh. The painter is painting the house, and I was trying to sneak this in before he was on this side of the house. So, okay, I'm having a crazy, wild week of transition and like all kinds of stuff. I hope your week is going well, Mystique. Hey, get into the groove. Hey, Audrix, and Valerie, and Ellen, and Karina, and Jess, and Leanne, and everybody. Okay, so, all right. What happens when you've had enough denial being used to deflect arguments, to where you never feel heard, where you're being gaslit? Well, you're being gaslit. So what's happening is cognitive dissonance starts to happen. You start to have a confusion about what you feel versus what you know actually happened, or is true, or is happening. So what you perceive as happening is not what you feel, because you're being told to feel something that the person is telling you, the narcissist is telling you through the denial. Does that make sense? It's super confusing. You get super confused because you're trying to think from a place of understanding, of reasoning, of taking your own accountability. I mean, like half the time when they're denying something, they'll use a half truth or a half truth. Maybe they do something nice for people or for you. You can't deny that. You can't deny the good things they do because they do them. You're not in a state of denial except for maybe not seeing them for who they are, which is another kind of denial. We can talk about that. But if they are someone who does that, more altruistic, a more communal narcissist where they do nice things out there, and then at the same time, twisted backstabbing, horrible treatment, lashing out, treating everyone, treating you terribly, accusing you of things, attacking you verbally or whatever they're doing. How are you supposed to make sense of that in your head? It creates total cognitive dissonance. And so that's why. So what happens with us is when we're in the state of cognitive dissonance, we go into a sort of denial where we can't see them for who they are. Does that make sense? So denial, I guess, begets denial. That's what I would say from now that I'm thinking about it, because then we are struggling to see the truth, even though we see the truth, if that makes sense. Right? Okay. You guys are quiet today. If you have any questions of your own unrelated to denial, go ahead and ask, and I will see if I can get to you. I'm going to keep it short and sweet because I don't know when he's going to be back at the window. Okay. All right. So with denial, the narcissist has several modes and methods that they use for the denial. There's the dismissal. You talk about something and they divert to something else. They dismiss it as you're just so sensitive. They dismiss it as it really wasn't that big a deal. I don't know why you're making such a big deal about this. They dismiss. What is Audrix is saying? What do you do when you see the truth, but someone else is in denial? How do you get them to see the truth? You can't, love. You can't. All you can do is not go into reaction to that person. And hopefully the other person in the situation sees that by not reacting, that the narcissist keeps lashing out, and then it becomes clearer and clearer to them. Does that make sense? Like, even if you're in reaction to them, so say a narcissist says something to you and it creates a reaction, and you have a reaction in front of the other person that you wish could see the truth. If you're in reaction, they can say, well, yeah, but you yelled at them. Well, yeah, but you were part of that too. You weren't listening to them. You weren't giving them a chance to talk. You weren't this, you weren't that, right? Because they're seeing it from a more empathic sort of normal mindset maybe. And if instead you go, oh, when the narcissist, and you completely gray rock over and over and over, hopefully that person will see, oh my gosh, you have to do the same thing I have to do, which is pretend it isn't happening. You can't force someone to see what they're not ready to see or don't want to see. All right. They minimize everything. It's all about them, and they can never see through your eyes. Yep. Minimization is number 2 that I was going to say. So thank you. Yes, they minimize. And narc cheating, and you saw them and they're still denying. Oh yeah, you didn't see what you saw. You just thought you saw what you saw, but then you didn't actually see it because I wasn't there. Didn't happen. Or yeah, I know it happened. I don't know why. It didn't really happen. Or we were on a break. Or yeah, there's all kinds of excuses and justifications. Justifications is the next one. So minimizing it, dismissal, completely ignoring it, completely just overriding your feelings, dismissal, right? Justification. There's always somebody else. Justification, and I would also add to this the blame shifting, where that's always somebody else's fault, or there's always a reason behind their behavior. And we do it too. We go into denial and we see it, we think, well, they had a hard childhood, they didn't learn to communicate well, so they struggle. Or they struggle with this, and I understand that about them, and that's okay. I can help because I'm good at communicating, and we go into denial. But they use it as a form of manipulation to get away with stuff, to not take accountability. That's the last thing they need, they want to take. They can't, right? It would be like saying I'm not who I say I am. And only a person without a personality disorder can actually believe that. I mean, we all can say, "Well, whoa, I just did something." If you did something and you had to be accountable, you'd be like, "Wow, I'm not who I thought I was. I actually did that thing. I'm gonna have to think about my behavior and how I act." Right? They won't do that. So, all right, and how it's our fault. Yes, exactly. All right, reversal. They flip it as if it didn't happen, right? They reverse the situation. They backtrack, they backpedal out of it. They may even play victim there in the form of denial. Negation. That's another way they negate everything. No, I didn't. I call that the I know you are, but what am I? Or I didn't do that, you did that. I didn't do that, you did that. I can remember the narcissist actually saying that, and I thought, "What are you for?" Like, I didn't do that, you did that. I wasn't yelling, you were yelling. I'm like, "What? I didn't even talk. What do you mean?" Like, what? And it's such gaslighting. And if you get enough of it, at first it's absurd and you almost laugh at it. And then you're like, "Wait, what? This person's actually saying this." Suddenly you start believing it. That's the scary thing is all this denial, you're so wrapped up in the narcissist world by the time they're using this stuff a lot on you that you start to believe it. Like I said, the cognitive dissonance, the defending them, all of that starts coming in. This couldn't have been more timely. Had a big blow up by text. Hey, get into the groove. Last night, ugh. And this morning with my ex narcissist who now denies our relationship. Yes, there's one, denies the relationship. During a Hoover, denies the relationship was ever over. Denies it, like it could be one way or the other, right? But we never ended things. What do you mean? Oh my gosh. What? Right? Denies denying the relationship existed, denies the nature of the relationship. We were only friends. We just slept together because it was fun. We were only friends. We weren't in a relationship. I don't know what you're thinking. You're crazy, right? Depressed friend said she doesn't want to talk to anyone and doesn't want to talk to anyone, but she is online on WhatsApp. It confuses me since she used to really like me at the beginning. Um, Is she seeking attention on there from other people and knows that if they talk to you, it's real? You know what I'm saying? Is something up with her or him? Oh, you said she with her. So I don't know. That's an interesting one, isn't it? Let's see. I'm gonna go back here real quick. They blame others. They say others are responsible for the things they do. You're responsible. It's your fault. You made me do that. You made me yell at you. You made me so upset that I had no choice. I've heard that a lot. You made me so upset that I had no choice. You cornered me. You backed me. You push and push and you backed me into a corner. It wasn't my fault. I didn't. Or a good one is oh gosh, it's like on the tip of my tongue because it was said so many times. I would try, but it doesn't help. I would try to fix things. I would try to look at my side of things, but it's not gonna help anyway because you're always upset, you're always mad, you're always this. So I would do this, but it's not gonna help, right? Um, they go to others when they know we really see their real self. Correct. Correct. Um, they need to believe, so here's the thing, they need to believe in their delusional mindset 24/7. They need to believe in the mask all the time. They know if the mask slips. Okay, this is a question. When the narcissist has told they're a narcissist and they deny the diagnosis even or the accusation or somebody's educated guess. Okay, some will admit it. Yes, I'm narcissistic. Many, many, many will say, I am not. You're the narcissist. Well, we just that's deflection. That's like a reversal. It's a negation, right? Um, it's an inability to look at oneself. They justify to get away with it because they are unable to look in the mirror, even though it's funny because what do you think of a narcissist is looking in the mirror, right? They can only look in the surface mirror. They can't look in the mirror that goes deeper, that shows who they really are. Okay, I'm not a narcissist. You are. Oh yeah, I'm not a narcissist. You are. Yes. Your ex denied everything. Uh-huh. Everything, everything. They deny everything. And I think this comes back to closure, why it's so difficult to get even an ounce of it. And you're not going to, so let that go. There's ways to find closure on your own and to realize it means something different when dealing with different types of people. Dealing with a narcissist, closure does not mean having a long, thoughtful conversation with someone where you discuss the things that hurt one another, say your sorries, and go on. It means working on yourself, getting yourself healed, and realizing the truth of all this denial. And then realizing there's nothing you can do about it because that's just it's the pattern this person's gonna have forever and finding other means of closure. How can you tell if someone is a narcissist or only depressed? We can't tell if someone is a narcissist. We're not qualified to diagnose. We can see narcissistic behavior traits. So go back and look at um, some of the videos on here. Like I think I have like certain number 25 or 50 ways to spot red flags, 50 ways to tell of manipulation. There's a bunch of them and they're fairly recent so you don't have to scroll too far back. Watch those, and if too many boxes are being ticked, it might just be time to back off that person for a while and see what happens. Depression shouldn't make someone toxic to other people to the degree of what we're talking about when we're talking about narcissism, right? It might make them no fun to be around. It might make them challenging. It might make them slightly toxic if you're too enmeshed and they're not doing anything to help themselves, right? And there may be an underlying issue, not just depression. Does that make sense? And they need to be getting help for themselves and guided toward that help and instead of someone depressed that is putting everything onto you and isn't getting help for themselves is being a bit toxic to you. Does that make sense? They're not helping themselves. They're not reaching out to the right resources, which maybe they don't know what they are. And so maybe some help there would be nice. Or maybe they do and they just don't want the help. Right. So I don't think, I think looking for the red flags of, if they're gaslighting you, if they're projecting everything onto you, if they're lashing out at you, if they're nice one minute and mean the next, if they're future faking things, if they're look for the major red flags, and then you don't need to diagnose someone with narcissism or toxic borderline or anything. You don't need to diagnose someone to just witness toxic behavior coming towards you and say no, enough's enough, no thank you, right? Okay, next, narcissistic ex, gotcha. I just can't see that far. So when do you actually know when they are done? I've heard it 1,000 times. They are never done, my friend. Even when they're done, like with the romantic side of a relationship, like if it is a romantic relationship, even when they're done with that, they're not done with you. They will come. They are. I had a Hoover 30 years later. Like, come on, really? They cycle and recycle back to the same people because it's easy targets. They know how to manipulate you in particular. They know your vulnerabilities, they know your things that make you happy, they know all your buttons, right? And they push them and they it's easy for them. So, it's 100% done when you choose to be done. When you block them, when you turn away from any Hoover that comes your way, when you even some people have to go as far as restraining orders for certain situations. When you're done, that's when it's done. They're never going to be the ones to be done. Some will never contact you again, but does that mean they're done? I don't know. I think if they saw you, it would start up again. I think it would because they need the supply. I mean, it's all they're after, right? Is that why he will not give me my possessions? Heck yes, yes, yes. Those are hostages for the Hoover. They're Hoover hostages. Your possessions are being held over your head. They're being held imprisoned so that he can come and get you later, but one item at a time if he wants. Does that make sense? Yep, it's exactly why. Those are, and it doesn't mean necessarily, oh, he wants me back, how romantic, right? No, it can mean anything. It can mean he wants to yell at you. It can mean he wants to give you the silent treatment. It can mean he wants to suck you back in only to spit you back out. It can mean all kinds of things. It's never good. But yes, that's what they do. At a certain point, you have to decide your possessions are less valuable than your freedom. I think for a lot of people, um, it's not. It's unfortunately sometimes we have to let that go, and sometimes we don't. So it's up to you. I mean, it's your choice in that in your life, but it's worth thinking about. I think if I think I might be narcissistic, does that make me less likely to actually be a narcissist? Everybody's got narcissistic traits now and then. Everybody's got toxic behavior now and then. If you have been uh, a person who has had a toxic upbringing or a long-term toxic relationships, it's entirely possible you have picked up fleas or you have narcissistic traits because of the way you were treated. It's automatic, it's a trigger. It's possible when we're triggered that we go into, I know when I get highly triggered, I can go into a dissociative state where I can't be nice even though I'm not mean. Does that make sense? I'm not acting like myself, and it's like a battle to get back into center and okay, I mean, it happens, right? And it takes a pretty good trigger to knock me that far down, but that's trauma, right? That's a trauma brain. During that time, I'm probably not at my best, right? And so there's probably traits all over the place that I need to like pick apart and work on, right? And so maybe that's going on. I would say talk to a therapist if you're feeling that way, or a coach or someone that can kind of talk you through it. Um, Usually people who are really researching it and really worried about it, that is an indication that it's not them, usually. All right. You may be, see, here's the thing, you may be manipulative. Does that make you an awful, horrible person? No, it means that maybe there's something you need to work on. Does that make sense? I don't know you. I'm just talking to like the one line you're writing here. So I can't tell you, but I would say talk to someone. Go talk it through with someone like a therapist that knows what they're talking about doing here, or a coach that is specifically for narcissistic abuse, so that you and be open and honest and with it all with yourself in the conversation, so that you can get, because I mean there may be ways a lot of us manipulate to maintain control when we're survivors. We manipulate in future relationships to maintain control so that the pain doesn't happen again. And it's like micromanaging from a codependent place. And that is manipulative. It doesn't mean we are like highly toxic. It just means we got stuff to keep in check and work on, and that's just being human, right? So yeah, don't give yourself a diagnosis. Just figure out what it is that you need to work on and talk to someone. Okay. Jumping to pop diagnosis, it is often used incorrectly, and it's not even important. What's important is, can you take accountability for your actions, even if it's hard? And I don't mean all the time. Nobody does all, well, some people do, but most people don't all the time. Can you take accountability, and can you start looking at how to make changes to actually use the information you got through taking accountability and making change? Does that make sense? All right. How can I stop ruminating, says Valerie? Well, so many ways. You can pattern interrupt through telling yourself to stop, just like literally stop, and then thinking of something else. You can set an end date to the ruminating. Okay, after I'm going to ruminate all I want tonight, and then tomorrow it's over. It's training your brain again. All right, your brain has got these neural pathways that are just like over and over and over and over, right? And you've got to like hop out of that and deliberately change the way you're thinking. It's a mind over mind thing, okay? And other things, meditation, taking breaks from it, get distracted, get I don't know how long you've been away from the toxic person, or I don't know the story, so it depends. That would depend on how long it's been, like how you want to approach it. So, if you need it, head over to the group coaching. That might be a useful thing for you too. And I'll talk about that at the end here. We're going to end pretty quickly here because I think I am on borrowed time. It's quiet. Um, let's see. I was afraid to talk here, but it looks like safe right now. Uh oh. You can write me privately if you need to. Okay. Um, Mindfulness apps help? Yes, mindfulness apps, mindfulness mindset, books about mindfulness to help you understand what it means. Or, I mean, I have a quick video about what mindfulness is way back if you just search it, and a couple mindfulness meditations that might help. Um, okay. Anything else, you guys? We talked about denial. We talked about all that. I think we're good. All right. Anything else before I head out? I'm sorry this week has been short. I meant to be here earlier, but it didn't happen. So next week we'll aim for more. Why do I need validation? Everybody needs validation, my friend. Everybody needs a little validation. If what do you mean by that? Why do you need validation for what? That the stuff happened to you in this whatever you're recovering from, that you exist? You know what I mean? Like, is it everything? What do you mean by that? I'll answer that before you type in case you don't hear me right now. We need validation for validation. My ex is a covert narcissist because you're in a state of cognitive dissonance. Part of you knows it, part of you doesn't. And because it's you're probably loyal, you're probably love this person or have loved this person. You probably have a whole lot of life that you had planned with this person that is really hard to let go of. There's all kinds of reasons we need to know that what we're doing is the right thing and that it is as bad as we thought it was. We're in a state of cognitive dissonance. That means our mind thinks one thing, our heart feels another, and we're pulled in two directions. We also get a sort of amnesia that happens that we forget the bad things, especially with a covert. Okay. They're nice half the time. They're not only nice, they can maybe never yell at you. They can maybe never it's so hard to describe what happened that you might be telling someone and they go, "Well, that sounds normal." No, it's not normal. Like, but wait, it was gaslighting. Well, it's so hard to describe what happens with the coverts that it's absolutely. And again, that is a place if you need it, even one session of coaching can help with that, or group coaching because we do need to hear it. We need to sometimes tell our story to someone. I do this a lot. I listen to people tell their story and give validation. Usually within the first 3 sentences, I can hear it. By about 10 minutes into listening to them, it's very obvious what's going on. And then it's easy to just kind of reflect back to them what happened. And it helps our brains and our hearts like sync up, right? To have that validation. Okay. It's hard to move on when most of my yes, and that's it too. Most of your friends and family don't believe how bad it is. And that is such a shame and it is such a problem with this particular type of situation because people number one, they think we use the word too much. And so that's why I use it, but I try not to use it and be like narcissist, narcissist, narcissist. It's like toxic people, whatever. Okay. Because people then will say, you think everyone's a narcissist, like, well, no, but there's a lot of people out there who treat people in such a way that it seems like they are. Okay. So, um, you wish you could move forward without needing that validation, working it through. Well, I mean, you may need it and it's not a bad thing. So it's not I'm going to tell you that most people need it. Most people need to either tell their story and have a reflection back that is from a place of understanding versus telling your stories to family and having them go, That sounds hard. Is that really what happened? Oh, there must be a reason for it, or just, you know, ignoring you altogether. It wasn't that bad. So, yeah, it's very, 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 very common to, need the validation. Don't beat yourself up for needing that. It's part of the deal. What were you saying here? Um, I don't need it in my life. Okay. I'll just stay back here. Let's see. Uh, Focus on the progress, not perfection. Yeah, it takes a while. Validate your truth for yourself. Yes, validate your truth through writing it out. Writing out the bad things the person did, the hurtful things, whatever. Write them out on in just all by themselves and look at it. That can kind of give you your own validation in little ways. Okay, but don't feel bad that you need some because it happens. Okay, I think that's it for today because I have to get a move on. And I will see you guys maybe tomorrow. I'll try. Or over with Angie tomorrow. I'm not sure. We're going to try. Okay. All right. If you need any help with anything, check out queenbeing.com. Lots of info, links to all sorts of things that are useful and helpful in this. Anything regarding narcissistic anything. Okay. Um, My name is Lise Colucci, in case you don't know me, and I am one of the Queen Being life coaches. If you do need coaching, check out the info in the main description of every video, as well as if you need group coaching, which is small group coaching. We meet 3 times a week. Lots of talking, lots of good stuff. Great group of people, like amazing people, and at a lower cost so that it is affordable and it's lots of coaching for a little money. Okay, so that's what it is, and it anyway, it's good stuff. Check it out. Subscribe if you haven't. Hit the thumbs up, and I will see you guys soon. Thank you for participating. I appreciate all of the questions today. It makes it fun to sit here and talk. Okay, I'll talk to you later. Bye.